Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Makari. Now this might seem a little bit weird because when have I ever casted a game of Starcraft? Well, Starcraft to me is like my bread and butter. It's the one game that I'm actually half decent at. And this is my very first ever tournament that I'm hosting. We have the Team Herald $170 Starcraft tournament. And I do apologise if in the start of it I have no idea what I'm doing because I can't remember most of the hotkeys. But with that all being said, we are in with a Zerg v Protoss. In the bottom left we have Team Herald Esports FateinVoid. I butchered that name, I am so sorry. And up in the top right we have the Zerg, the Team Herald Esports Chas. And they are both part of the same team, obviously. They're on the Team Herald Esports, of course. Now, they're both Master League, I believe. Or one of them might just have gotten to Grandmaster, I can't remember off the top of my head. So, off the bat, we have our lovely Zergy player here going for a quick expansion. And in this state of the game, it seems only natural with $170-ish in the prize pool. You don't want to be taking any risks going for early cheese. That's the sort of thing you'd see in Diamond League myself. So, what can we expect from these two, I wonder? What can we expect from these two? Even though I've been in this team for about 3 weeks now, and what has to be said is that from what I've seen from most of the players in this team, there is some definite potential from some amazing games here. And again, I do apologise if I stutter or there's some slight slip-ups with the casting style. This is the first time in about 3 years that I've maybe cast a game of Starcraft. I did do a little bit of it back in the day when I was inspired by certain Starcraft professionals. So we'll see how this goes. The initial setup of this is going to be that I cast whatever games come up, and then when we come to the semi-finals, the quarter-finals, and the finals, I will cast every single one of those games. So up until that point, it's going to be a mismatch of whichever game we can get into. And of course we have these pulling off drones to the natural, saving all the minerals in the main base as possible. And obviously we're going to sort of expect that to have a bit of a macro game here, with both players opening up very economy heavy. And if you're not used to the idea of what Starcraft is, you should probably tune into my Starcraft streams that I do every other day near enough on my Twitch channel. There will be a link in the description, and for any other information in regards to Team Herald or the stuff that we get up to, just check out the description, it'll all be down there. So, whilst we wait for these guys to get into the swing of things, the entire point of this tournament was that I wanted to give a team a chance to earn some money for their team colours and have a bit of fun in the process. So I raised it to one of the members from Team Herald that I would host this tournament for them. And so far, I think it's been probably one of the best decisions of my YouTubing and Twitching career. As they are both... Sorry, everyone from Team Herald has taken to this challenge very, very nicely. And they've welcomed me with open arms, even to the point of letting me on their team, which I am greatly appreciated for. If this tournament goes like as well as I'm hoping, I am very much considering making this a very frequent thing that we do. Okay, so now that we're getting into the swing of things with the game, we can see that Chas is still macroing like a beast, moving on to a third base, getting the creep connected with a couple of extra creep queens. Whilst on the other side of things, we got Fate putting down his Twilight Council, maybe looking to do some kind of blink all-in or moving into Dark Shrine. Now we see that he has already gotten his third gas, and he is already starting to produce a Warp Prism, maybe looking to move out onto the map, do some harass. He's not produced a third Nexus as of yet, so we are not looking at too much more macro on his end of things. He's researching charge, and he's exploding all the way up to, how many is it? 1, 2, 3, 4... 4 gateways? We could see some aggression from this, or he might just use it to poke forwards and secure his third. This Overlord is getting the scouting information on the amazing Artosis pylon we have here, and the fact that there is now a Warp Prism out on the field, as well as a Immortal being produced. Both players doing a very good job at showing how Master League players work. The fact that we can see that Chas has already started producing his 4th base. And the creep spread is starting to move out into the middle of the map. This warp prism moving in to start doing some harassment with these oh so lovely... Oh, and we got a bit of lag. Got a bit of lag. Okay, I'm straight back into the game. So with that being said, these queens... I find having these queens out early in the game makes it so much easier to hold off these sorts of harassy warp prism plays, as you're able to focus the warp prism down a lot quicker. The Adepts moving into the back of the base, picking up a few more drones. Now obviously the idea of this attack is to not win the game, but make sure the Zerg stays on his side of the map, dealing with the annoyance that is these durable little scrumptious little things that just wreak havoc in any mineral line. And obviously on that we see that Fate is now moving out with 2 Immortals, and what's his upgrades like? He still hasn't got any upgrades, but with 2 Immortals against a Ling Roach composition, I think he's probably going to have this in the bag just from his composition. The attack has caused quite a delay on a lot of the production for Chas, so he's down in army supply already near enough. Let's see if we can get... again, I do apologise, I'm still trying to remember a lot of the... Control A. Yeah. So, as we can see... Oh no, is he up? He is up just a little bit amount, but in terms of value of army, I feel as though Fate has a lot more ability to do damage with his attack. If he goes in now, he will be able to do some damage, but the Ravagers are now out with transfuses available from the Queen, so I don't now see this attack doing much damage at all. The Protoss will end up just getting zerged, giggity, and we will just probably see a quick mop-up of whatever's here. Or at least a standoff of units. I mean, the Zerg army is just quickly massing up to the point where anything that will be warped in will just be pretty much brutalized by the corrosive shot from the Ravagers. Okay, and yep, there we go. Everything was cleaned up in a swift nutshell. And I honestly don't think Fate is going to be able to pull back from this. He's expanding. He's down by almost 50 supply at this point. He's still building some more Immortals. He hasn't really droned up from his previous engagement. He only has 44 probes to the 55 of Chas, and Chas is now moving out across the map towards FateinVoid. And I get the feeling this will just be a quick, decisive victory for Chas after having held off that timing from Fate. Posturing outside the base, ready to move in. I don't see Fate being able to hold this off, if I'm honest. He's got some overcharges he can put off, but the second that runs out of energy, the Ravagers will swoop in, and as we can see... Production again. Just have to remind myself this. There's D. As we can see, the Lurker Den is on the way with +2 attack for Chas. And at this point, he can make a decision. He can either sit back and produce. It looks like he's playing the safe game and going to macro, making sure he can win it on the economy level, and not end up just dying up outright to a second, all in, so to say, from the Protoss. So it looks like we're going into the late game now. The upgrades are getting there for both teams, with Fate still not having actually upgraded. I think I might have missed that. But if he does not start upgrading his forces very soon, this will likely be his one and only remaining attack. Now, Chase has found that there is no 4th, and Chase has now been on a 4th for quite some time. So even in the economy game, he is already ahead quite substantially. What's the economy? So yeah, as we can see, Chase is roaring ahead with the economy. He is almost a third ahead in some respects as to what Fate is. And again, the army supply is now dwarfing Fate as well. Okay, and we're back with the cast. Had a little bit of a technical glitch on one of the broadcasting end. We are streaming this at the same time as well. Now, Fate has a very strong army here, and he's also doing a drop in the back, which is very, very clever. So we have been having a slight technical issue. This is the first game of the day, so we were sort of expecting a couple of issues. Now, this might just be me having just recorded, but I am at least recording this at the very least to go on YouTube. Okay, and we're going in for our final engagement with this one. See how, oh, and there's the recall. So we're moving back into a bit of a relaxed game here. However, Fate is very, very far behind in upgrades and army supply. The only thing he can possibly do to hope to get back into this game now is continue with this harass, try and pull Chase around the map, and in some hopes of pulling it up in the economy. Chase has been very clever, however, and put his overlords in positions that will allow him to block any form of expansion from Fate. So Fate is basically locked into you having this army and only this army to attack with until he can either clear up some creep and clear out these overlords. He needs to make a decision. He needs to either go for a full-on attack and try and win in one swoop, but with Lurkers, Ravagers, Queens, and a whole heap full of Zerglings, I honestly do not think that Fate has any chance left other than a miracle to actually pull this off. So they're just posturing now, ready to go in. And here we go, we got a couple of Devastators mixed in with Archons, Immortals. This is still a very hefty army, and there is a lot of splash damage for the Zerglings just to be chewed up. But with upgrades, Ravagers, and now some Corruptors coming in to kill off anything that would still be there, I think this is just going to be a quick clean over by the Zerg player. All this army is now just going to swoop over and probably just murder everything else that Fate has left in his base. And behind this we can see that he has moved up to a 5th base. His upgrades are moving on quite nicely. Where are we at with the upgrades? Upgrades are G. Yeah, I mean, it's just a world of difference. We even have Broodlords now morphing in. 185 supply versus 84. There is a 100 supply difference. And I honestly do not see this going any further than one more attack. He's going to move in here and just crush whatever Fate has left in his base, which honestly at this point is not a lot. We have what? 3 Archons, 2 Disruptors. Unless he gets some of the most godlike Disruptor hits in the world, this just isn't going to work. I mean, we have some cute little harassment up here, but Chas has some Spinecrawler defense just holding off the holding everything down. And Chase has taken this time just to take every single base that has not already been taken with an Overlord, just so he can even see when those bases are taken. Okay, so I don't see. I think there might be a slight skill difference here, or that might just be me. I'm not sure. It just seems that with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bases on the map for Chas, and still only 3 for Fate, I don't see this going any further. We're just waiting for the slow demise of the Protoss here. But when you're playing for money, you might say to yourself, well, why isn't he just giving up? When there is money on the line, my friends, it is worth fighting to the end, because you never know if you might get that one clutch Devastator hit, or that one lucky Storm. It's always worth sticking around to try and get that last victory if you can. But with Broodlords in the air and not much anti-air, I expect a GG any second now. Unless he's just going to be obnoxiously determined. Please don't be obnoxiously determined. Oh dear. Oh dear, this is like watching paint dry at this point. Some very aggressive paint dry. Some very, very emergency Dark Templar. Unfortunately with Dark Templar, they cannot hit up. So, how much use these are going to be, I'm not entirely sure. And GG should be coming out any second now. There we go. Victory goes to Chas. And on to the next game.